All right, at this point in the lesson, I want to stop and point out something to you. I don't know if you would have noticed this or not, but we've got two different types of elements on our page here right now, and most of them are what we call block level elements. So our H1 element, our H2, H3, and our paragraphs are what we call block level elements. And what that means is that they stretch out to take up as much width as they possibly can. Now you can't really see this because you can't see how much space these elements are really occupying on the page. But I'm going to do a little trick here to show you. So I'm going to press F12 here, and that will open up our web developer tools. Now yours might show up on the bottom here. Yours will probably show up on the bottom here when you press F12. Now this should work in pretty much any browser, and we'll learn more about this tool later, but this is called the Web Developer Tools, and we can use it to help us with our programming quite a bit. I'm going to go ahead and press on this button right here. I call that the inspector button, and then I'm going to start hovering over stuff. Now if you hover over the H1 element, this blue background here shows you how big this element really is. So it's stretching across the entire width of the page. And because it does that, it appears on its own line, so it forces a line break before it and after it. So here's the H2, same thing. It stretches out across the whole page. So paragraph as well. You can see that that blue box is going across the whole page. But the U element and the B element that we added is a little bit different. So if I hover over, I'm hovering over the B element right here, you can see that that doesn't stretch across the whole page. It falls in line with whatever's around it. And that makes sense because we want to be able to add structure to our content when it's within a line. But some elements will take up the entire width of the page, and those are called block level elements. And other elements such as the U element and the B element that we added earlier, those elements will only be as big as the content that goes inside of them. So there's a difference between block level and inline elements. Now you don't have to remember which ones are which when you're learning. It'll become apparent as you start learning about more elements, but you'll want to keep it in mind as we move through the course, because you'll need to know the difference between those two types of elements, block level and inline elements.